I'm always going to hang laundry because a lot of my channel is cleaning inspiration. Some people seem like confused about the topic of my channel, or they just seem generally, they get upset like when they see what I'm posting on my channel. But here's the thing. I have always posted, well, I mean, I do more cleaning content than I used to, but I've done laundry videos for years. So I just find that, I always find it kind of hilarious that we have some people that come to this channel and they're like, oh my gosh, why are you doing laundry? Well, because that's a big part of my content. I do a lot of laundry. I love clean clothes. I mean, and I like to share how you could do your laundry and have clean clothes. If somebody's like upset by that, I want to know what to tell them, except for maybe they need to calm down a notch. That's it. One thing I learned a long time ago though is I just like a happy go lucky vibe. I'm not really into the, and I don't think there's anything wrong with social media because I think there's all sorts of things you can have on social media. But one thing that I'm finding I like to do is just distance myself from the people who like to make confrontational social media. I'm not about that life. I know some people really enjoy that, but personally, I don't. So I just like to kind of stay away from it. Like the people that want a lot of friction on social media, I don't like it. You want a friction, don't friction with me. Friction on your own, you know? Everybody's welcome to have whatever kind of platform they want. I just personally find that the way that I want to do YouTube is not like a friction environment. Like I don't enjoy that side of YouTube is all I guess I'm gonna say. Or TikTok or whatever. You're all nice and so I guess there's a lot of topics I could discuss. Like I feel like there's something I want to talk about. Oh yes. So I don't spend a lot of time on the like there's like I guess what you would call like the spilling the tea. I'm not really into that part of TikTok, but apparently, let's see. I'm trying to find something. I guess some people were very invested. Okay. Whoops. Okay, like I said, some people were super invested in like this TikTok drama between these two wives. Okay, so not everything you see on social media is going to be something that you want to do. Okay, these two women, first off, I don't really care like deeply about it. I'm like a single person. I'm not married. I'm not like here to cater to housewives, but there's these two women and I guess their content to me it kind of reminds me of like I don't know, there's all sorts of housewife content like before the whole trad wife thing, but these two women, they're white women married to Indian men, and I guess they've truly embraced the culture, both of them have, but apparently they were fighting. And one was telling the other one that she was doing cultural appropriation and that she wasn't supposed to like post recipes and that she was copying her. And then it just seemed weird. You know, I'll be honest with you. I looked at a couple of their videos and I didn't really get it. I didn't really get what the big argument was. I actually was kind of embarrassed for the lady. It looked like to me no, I'm not married and it's not important. Like, people don't need to be married to be happy in life. Like, it's so amazing. Like, you can find your own happiness in life. Like, I don't equate my happiness to being married. So, but some people want to be married. I personally have found a lot of benefit in my life not being married because we're going to take that out. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. We're not talking about sniffing. Not appropriate. You're on YouTube. This is not some people get a little too zany. But anyway, in the story time. Okay. Going on with the story. I'm looking for people that are strong cookie, that have good listening skills. So if you want to be here, up your listening skills a bit and follow comment policy. So yeah, story time. Back to the story. One lady was accusing the other lady of like culturally appropriating Indian culture, but they're both white. This was very confusing to me. I paint when I have time, but YouTube's kind of my hobby right now because it's a little bit easier to do because painting, I have to get everything set up. So these two women, they're both white, they're both married to Indian men, and one is accusing the other one of doing cultural appropriation and taking Indian recipes. But here's the thing, both of them are married to Indian men. Both of them have husbands that like them to embrace the culture, okay? And it appeared to me that one was kind of bullying the other one, the one that was telling the one that, I guess, from what I saw, I didn't look too much into it because after a while I thought, well, this seems kind of silly. This seems really silly. And I'll explain why I think it's silly. First off, women should just support other women. Men should support other men, and people shouldn't be like denigrating each other. And I think this is kind of what I've been talking about the other day. There are some people in this world that think that there isn't enough to go around, but everybody has their own thing, and you don't have to tell somebody who's making similar content to you that, oh my gosh, like, you're copying me. No, you should just be happy for that person, and you should be like, that's cool. Or maybe they could have done a collaboration with each other. Like, I feel like there was something very weird about one woman kind of bullying the other woman, telling her that she was culturally appropriating like Indian culture because they're both white. They're both white women. But I don't even think that either one was culturally appropriating Indian culture because both of them had husbands that enjoyed them wearing Indian clothing, and both of them had mother-in-laws who probably gave them jewelry. So everybody has different ideas about like how they want to live. Everybody has different thought processes. So I feel like it seemed kind of silly in this case because both of them are married to an Indian man. Like both of the but what did seem wrong was the one woman who told the other woman, like the smaller creator, that she shouldn't be on the internet and she didn't have a right to like make recipes. Like, why didn't they just try to get along? Why didn't they do a collab video? I just thought it seemed really weak. And I feel like maybe people just like to have drama rather than try to be friendly with each other. They just want to have drama. And it just made the like bigger creator look kind of insecure in a way to me. Because if she was so good at what she did, and her content was so compelling, she wouldn't have to tell like a smaller creator that they shouldn't be on a platform. She wouldn't do that. Like she would be applauding somebody. Like I don't know, I've seen other cooks like a few years ago on YouTube because I follow different YouTubers where I would see different YouTube chefs like they would support each other and sometimes they did collaborations together. And I feel like maybe that's a component missing on TikTok because TikTok's very short format driven, whereas YouTube is more long format driven. And even though you have lives on TikTok now, most people aren't going to be saving their lives to TikTok. Like TikTok still at the end of the day is very, and I do post YouTube shorts, I do, but at the end of the day, I just can see that TikTok will always be very short format. It's going to be about the quick, like the quick thing. Never like a discussion. Like people really aren't on that platform to try and get to know each other. They're not on TikTok to, I don't know, build like a true sense of community. I know people say there's a community on TikTok, and I do like TikTok. It's fun to watch, but I think like the side of TikTok where people are kind of going back and forth, I do find a lack of community because I feel like these people, maybe if they just stopped bickering with each other, they could be like, you know what? We actually have things in common and we could do a collaboration together on YouTube, which is more organic, long form content. Because YouTube and TikTok are essentially different platforms in my view. I view, this is just my take on both of them. I view YouTube more as, oh, people do long form videos together or they do like live streams. And there are YouTube shorts, but TikTok still kind of predominates in the short form content, I think. I mean, I know YouTube has it, but I'm going to say I feel like TikTok does it better because that was their original, thing and what they created. And for some reason, TikTok's really trying to push long form content, but most people just aren't going to TikTok to watch a 60-minute video. And then I feel like TikTok's status in the US is still kind of in limbo. Like, are we going to be able to keep it or not? Like, I don't know. I like TikTok, it's fun, but I definitely view it as more short form content. If I want to listen to something like a podcast or just like, you know, a vlog or something, I'll go to YouTube. TikTok's not for that. TikTok's more just like, oh, you have a few minutes, you want to scroll. Not hours. You should only be scrolling on TikTok for a few minutes, not for hours. Don't go bananas. Yeah, it just seems like it's more, in my view, I feel like TikTok's more just for just short amounts of time doing quick scrolling. But the amount of fighting that people do on all the apps is kind of ridiculous. Like over things that I just don't think are necessary. But then I had another thought. Then I started getting kind of like I started being suspicious about some of the fights. I started thinking, are they really fighting? This was my other thought that came to my head. Maybe they're not really fighting. Like, was there some sort of like, because they get bigger, is there like some sort of like agency that's promoting like these little mini debates? Like, are these creators getting together maybe and deciding, oh, let's have a debate about this? Like, it could be. Because, rage bait's a thing. And I'm not saying that these creators all are doing that, but sometimes I wonder, like, maybe some of them are like, you know what? If we all agreed, or like several of us agreed to like create like one of us will do a rage bait video and then somebody else will call them out on it and we'll all kind of grow organically together because of it. Like sometimes I just wonder, like, are these things planned out? I don't know, because some of it's just so absurd. How did this become the thing? I don't know. And then some of the people, I just will never agree with. They're like, oh, like, yeah, bullying is super wrong, by the way. Bullying is 100% wrong. But if you're getting like comments like that on your TikTok page that are just really bad comments, why don't you just delete them? Why don't you block the people that are making the dodgy comments? Like, why? Like, why would anybody keep these comments? Like, I can't think of any good reason that anybody would keep comments on TikTok that were just disparaging. There's no reason for it. The only reason somebody might be keeping comments like that is because, oh, it drives engagement. But if that's what you use to drive engagement on your channel, I think you don't have a healthy perspective, because there's just so many people. Here's another thing. This is where I feel like I'm doing some real criticism of TikTok tonight. Because if you look at YouTube, there's a lot of people that grew on YouTube and they didn't need any kind of controversy. No controversy at all. Like, they were able to just grow their channel by entertaining and educating and just being themselves. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers that do long form content. Like, they've got into short form content now, but a lot of them never, like, I know, like, you're always going to have your Trisha Paytas and people like that, but there's a lot of like YouTubers that I followed, like Laura Vitale, Mains by Mel. There's another like YouTuber, she does hair content and she's been on that platform forever, and she does sewing videos, but they're never like fighting with anybody. Like, these ladies are just getting along with everybody, and they're kind of just exploring their content, and they're doing their own thing. Like, they're not making their whole platform about like criticizing or having these back and forths with people. Like, there's literally people that grow on that platform through that sort of content. And I feel like that's a missing piece on TikTok, where there never will be like a true community on TikTok until TikTok kind of evolves, or just people evolve into, I don't know, just supporting each other. I get that there's political discussion, but honestly, even though I've seen a few of those TikToks, I feel like it's better not to consume too much of that content on TikTok, because some people don't know what they're talking about. You have to be very careful, and you should be reading news articles, because there was some lady the other day, and she wasn't even a Trump supporter, but she was saying something, and I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like him at all. But I feel like if you're going to speak with authority on something, maybe you should vet the news story, or you should find out what a certain country that you're speaking about, like their history. Like, maybe you should just look it up real quick before you make a video. I don't know. So I would just be very careful before you follow all the advice, all the stories on the TikTok. Like, you should look things up and vet it. Like, don't just be like, oh, somebody said on TikTok, so it must be true. No, there's some real scary stuff that people do on social media, period. Like, apparently, I didn't know this. Like, there's so many things that go on social media that just shock me every day. There's these little squishy toys. They're like fidget toys that people squish. And I would have thought this was a bad idea. I can't believe. So some people saw like videos. I don't know if they were on TikTok or YouTube or where. They're like these little squishy things. They're filled with some sort, they're made out of rubber, plasticky, squishy, filled with some sort of liquid. So I guess some people were saying you should put these squishy things in the microwave to make them more squishy. And it's so scary. So these parents have like nanny cams or kid cams, I guess, in their kitchen. And I find this very problematic. So in some of the cases, the kids are completely unsupervised, and they're like kind of young kids that can barely reach the microwave in some of the cases. And they're putting these plastic toys filled with liquid in the microwave. And this is super scary. And these toys are exploding, and they're causing like burns. But yeah, I think that's problematic. If somebody posted a video saying you should put a squishy toy filled with liquid made out of plastic in the microwave, not to mention it's caustic. Like, You're putting plastic which you want to be inhaling, and then the kids are getting like third-degree burns from these videos that suggested that they put these toys in the microwave to heat up. But here's my next question. Why did the parents let them do that? And then why are the parents posting the videos online? Like, well, I guess they were trying to say it to raises awareness, but don't put plastic in the microwave. Like, it's one thing if you're using, like, you know, even with bowls, honestly, even with bowls, like, I'm going to get really hardcore on this. Plastic melts. And one thing you don't really want to put in the microwave is plastic. You want to put glass containers in the microwave. If you're using microwaves, just for safety, you want to use glass containers and microwaves. And I guess, like, maybe people just aren't aware of this. Like, maybe this isn't something that people are aware of. You want to put, and if you're microwaving, like, something with a lid on it, you probably want like some sort of a ceramic lid, but you want to be very careful and very cautious, because if you have a lid on anything, you kind of want to ventilate the things that you're microwaving. I know, like, people are going to be like, but TV dinners have plastic on the top. Well, that's a little bit different, okay? Because those are just usually being microwaved for like a couple minutes. That's a little bit different. But if you're at home and you're like microwaving leftovers, just put them in a glass bowl, put them in a ceramic bowl. You really don't need a lid on top to microwave it, because that can be dangerous. And I feel like people are not being careful with the microwave. And I don't think like a little kid should be using a microwave. Like, I know some people are going to be like, oh, but kids back in the days used to make Pop-Tarts and all this. But we're in a different time now, okay? Like, yeah, I know. I grew up in the 90s too, where you go home and make food. I didn't make Pop-Tarts. But things are just different nowadays, and I think people need to be a little bit more cautious about letting an unsupervised child use a microwave. Because, well, in the 90s, I never heard about people putting squish toys in the microwave. That's one thing. I never heard about that. I think TikTok's making some of this stuff seem fun and trendy. Like, it's actually kind of dangerous. That's a little dangerous, you know? But one thing I could just suggest is if you're using a microwave and you're under the age of 10, your parents should be there with you supervising it, okay? I don't think people under the age of 10 should be using microwaves by themselves unsupervised. And honestly, the child should probably be 12 or 13 if they're home alone. Like, if the child's under the age of 12, they probably shouldn't be home alone. Just my thought. Because I know back in the day, we used to, like, starting at 10, we used to babysit and we used to be home alone. But it was just a different time. There were a lot of things. I just think sometimes society was a little bit safer too. And there wasn't these influences from social media. And maybe parents were more aware about what they're, no, they weren't. Boomers were not aware. My mom was, but boomers weren't aware. What am I saying? Boomers are horrible parents. But just certain things didn't happen. Like, nobody would have thought about putting a plastic toy in the microwave. That's just danger. That's danger. Like ceramic and glass. But you want to be very careful when you're microwaving things. End of the story. Just use caution. Even if you're microwaving like water or food, you usually generally would like to use pot holder. And you need to be very cautious when you're taking things out of the microwave, like I am. And I'm short, and my microwave is like at waist level. Like, I would not want to be reaching up for something hot and liquidy out of a microwave. That's just danger. I can't believe people like knowingly put their kids in these situations where it's just scary. Like, things that people think are cool to do to their kids, or just allow them to do. I don't get it. But hey, that's just my PSA for the night. There's a lot of things you see on social media that are trendy and cool, but they might not be safe. You might not want to do those things. You know, I'm just saying. If your kids are staying home after school, maybe you want to give them a snack that they're not using a microwave for, unless they're like over the age of 12 or something. But even then, I'd be really careful and very cautious. We just live in different times. People, like, I know 13-year-old me, I'd come home and make funnel cakes, but I just don't know if that's a thing. Well, maybe some 13-year-olds do come home and use the oven, but it just feels like it was a different time. We were just, in the 90s, things were just different. But anyway, I would just be very cautious and very careful when your children use ovens and microwaves, and they probably should be over 12, and it should be used for food only. Do not put plastic toys in any oven or microwave. I don't care what TikToker or what YouTuber did, like some slime, squishy, this makes it more pliable. No, don't do that. You know what is a fun activity you could do? You can, and this won't hurt anybody and nobody will be endangered. You could make like cookies outside when it's warm, and you could put them like in some sort of enclosure, like, and just put cookies on a cookie tray and find, like, I don't know, like if you had, like, if a parent has a car, you could do dashboard cookies, or if kids have like a tree house or something, and then nobody's using an oven unsupervised. You just put the cookies on a cookie sheet and outside. Or one thing we did as kids that I find very safe, just fun activity, like, do you have broken crayons? This is so cool, by the way. You take a whole bunch of broken crayons and you just kind of put them in it, like, there used to be, I don't know if people get these anymore, but these little like egg machines at different like stores, like grocery stores or just arcades and places, or just any kind of container. Like, it could be an Easter egg. Easter egg would work too. You could get a whole bunch of like little crayons that are broken and kind of just break them up a little bit more. Like, you, the parent, could break it up for them, maybe with a knife. The kid probably shouldn't do that part. Or the kids could just break them apart into smaller pieces with their hands, put them in the Easter egg, and if it's really warm outside, you could put them out in some gravel, let them sit outside for a few hours, and then kind of melt into these little forms, and you can use them to color, and it's just a fun activity. And nobody needs to use a microwave to do that. Like, there's fun things you could do. Or, here's a fun, recession-minded activity. Go to the Dollar Tree and buy, or Walmart or wherever, and buy a sketch pad and have your kids draw. Like, have them draw. Or here's another thing. They could definitely draw. Or if you want to make etchings of like leaves, like, you take the sketch pad and you put the leaf underneath, and you take a colored pencil and you just rub against over it, and you get the impression of the leaf. Or it could be other objects as well. That's kind of a fun one. I like that a lot. You can make some really cool things doing that, actually. So yeah, there's lots of safer things you can do without doing scary things, friends. Be careful, be safe. If it seems a little too extreme, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I'm all about caution. Like, another kind of video that used to bother me like a few years ago is where you'd see all these people jumping off cliffs into water. Like, I used to be bothered by that too, because a lot of people get really injured and kill themselves doing that. Like, that's kind of dangerous. Like, I know some people have skills to execute that, but unless you're like a high diver, like, just videos where people would be doing that, it kind of freaked me out. I'm so like on the side of caution. Like, I live a very cautious life. Like, I'm not into these people that do risk-taking videos. I hate that stuff. Like just be cautious, friends. Almost at the end of hanging laundry. You there for a second. have too many hangers with them. I'll have to fix those in a second. Alright, now I need to fix all the hangers I used. Like I hung up laundry the other day. I guess some people are like, oh, I want to hang laundry. Well, if you don't want to hang it outside, because a lot of places nowadays, which I think is kind of silly, like I wish there could be a way to hang laundry outside. I don't know why people don't like that. I think that's just one of the weird things about America, that hanging laundry outside if you're in a suburban area is not acceptable. I'm like, I don't know why that is. It's kind of silly because in Australia, people hang laundry outside all the time, but maybe because these are people in more rural areas. But even like I'm hearing in more rural parts of the U.S. now, it's like being discouraged to hang laundry outside. And I find this so strange because we talk about conservation, right? And hanging laundry outside is very much about conservation because you're not using energy from your dryer to dry your laundry. And I'm like, I don't get it. I feel like that's one thing that people should be in favor of, but it just seems like nowadays it's not allowed or something because of homeowners associations or just like communities don't want to see somebody hang laundry outside. I'm like, that's kind of silly. That's very silly. Like, why can people not hang laundry outside? I don't know. But if you live in an area where, well, let's be careful with this. Like, I personally don't think I could. Just because, I don't know. I find it absurd, really. Like, why there can't be. People find it, a nuisance to see somebody hanging laundry outside. You can get one of these little hanger things and you can hang your laundry in the house and you don't have to dry it, which makes your clothes last longer. That's why I love doing laundry videos because they're my thing. Thanks for watching.